Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Collegiate iRacing League's College Cup Series, where we come to you live for the first time in a very, very long time from the virtual Pocono Raceway for tonight's Future Made by Hand 200 presented by the Pennsylvania College of Technology. Thanks for joining us on tonight's Ignition Zone pre-race show, where we're going to review last week's action and get you hyped up for tonight's race. As I'm your host, Zach Lindler, joining me in the booth, as always, is John Dinkle. And John, where do we even start with last week's race? That was such a fun event. Even though it took forever, there was a ton of action from flag to flag. Slips, trips, spills, chaos, a little bit of beef here and there. But ultimately, Matthew Morton, my pick from last week, mind you, triumphed over the rest of the field and became the first multi-win driver in the field this season.
Had to flaunt your pick. I mean, mine came second, so it's not far off. I was almost there. But it's kind of the chaos that we expect from a short track. Last week being Iowa, it's a very interesting track that we hadn't have been to before. So I'm really happy that we had a interesting race to have fun watching and have fun commentating. It was just a kind of chaotic with the cautions and strategies that were created by that. But look forward to tonight. It's a bit of a return being Pocono. It's going to be an interesting one here too.
Yeah, this is the first time that we have been to Pocono, the Tricky Triangle, since season 3. That was back in fall 2021, I believe, where most of this field tonight hadn't even joined the CIL yet. I think I counted that we have 10 drivers joining tonight's field that were in that race, myself included. And it was a lot of fun. Pocono is a very fun track. Some drivers have some opinions on it, that they don't like it as much. I enjoy racing there just because of the product of racing, the quality of race that it puts on. It's famous 3-turn configuration. It's got the super long front stretch, leading into a wide sweeping turn 1 down the back stretch into the tunnel turn, very low banked, 90-degree left-hander, down the short chute into turn 3, and then right back out again to start a lap. You have to fight the car on pretty much all 3 of the turns at Pocono. If your car is set up really good for turn 1, it's going to be not as good in turn 2 and even worse on turn 3. So these drivers are really having to figure out in practice where they want their best corner to be, because you have to drive all of them completely different. And with the combination of the heavy braking zones into all 3 corners on top of the long straightaways, this always makes for a really, really fun race.
Yeah, it's a very distinctive circuit. Pocono is. I think there's an adage of it's the oval that drives like a road course because each turn is so distinct, and I think that kind of makes it such a anomaly because everything's distinct. Not just that it's one of the few tri-ovals, not even just on iRacing, but in the world, but that every turn on the circuit is so dramatically different that you can't have a perfect setup. You can't have the perfect car. It's all about compromise, and I think that makes it very interesting for someone who's tried to build setups before. It just isn't possible here, and I think I'm not sure if it's fixed or whatever for the CIL, but even just the people at iRacing making a fixed setup, it's tricky.
Yeah, fixed setups. The fixed setups that we run here in the College Cup Series, the same as the ones on iRacing. So the drivers basically have the deck handed to them. They just have to figure out what to do with the cards that they draw. When it comes to battling for position, when it comes to the corners that they want to be good at, whether they want to be okay at all 3 corners, or if they want to say, hey, I'm going to be really, really good at turn 1. I think this is the most critical point on the track. It's going to come down to strategy. It's a 200-mile race, 80 laps from start to finish. I think I saw where the fuel tank lasts anywhere from 35 to 45 laps. So it can be a one-stop race if you want it to be. If you want to save your resources and push to pit right in the middle of the race, it's certainly possible. But as we know here in the CIL, cautions can make all the difference, and a caution can come pretty much at any point during the race and throw a wrench in your strategy.
Yeah, and I think even whenever there's caution or even just at start, I think Pocono has one of the most entertaining starts because it's so wide. You get like 7 wide action because you get a little bit of concertina, bit of an accordion on the front straight during a restart, and all of a sudden you can see pretty much everybody trying to make lemonade out of the lemons. And that's it's again, it's just so unique. And I think also the fuel strategy is going to be interesting. I think it's one of the few circuits in the real life NASCAR calendar where fuel strategy and fuel efficiency race is a possibility in the strategy. So definitely something that the drivers will want to be thinking of as they tackle this circuit for the first time in a while.
Yeah, and you mentioned just how wide this track is. It's 91 feet wide on the front stretch. So we mentioned how cautions can throw a wrench in strategy. Well, the restarts are going to be even more chaotic because you'll see these drivers fan out to 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide as they get on the gas coming down the front stretch into turn 1. And that is going to be an agent of chaos tonight and is going to put on a really, really good show for all of us. But just a quick fun fact. I'm actually looking at the results from the last time we went to Pocono, and only one driver that's currently in the field tonight was in the top 10, and that was Esteban Munoz from FIU, who finished 10th. It was actually a race dominated by UNC Charlotte. They had 2 drivers on the podium, in Santiago Tires and Series Titan Jared Kaler finished 3rd that race. So how about let's go ahead and talk to tonight's interviewee. Speaking of UNC Charlotte, Clint Halterman, the standard bearer for that 49ers program out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Good to have you on the show. We were just talking about how the last time we came out, 2 of your, I guess, de facto teammates in Santiago Tires and Jared Kaler were the ones who did really well last time. Are you excited to come back to Pocono tonight?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever driven the next gen car here, so kind of an exciting challenge. It's a little similar. I really enjoyed. We went to Indianapolis last spring, and it's a little similar. So I'm hoping to. I think I got a top 5 out of that race. So I'm hoping to find that similar success here tonight.
It's been a while since we've been in Pocono. What I think Zach said the last time we've seen it in the CIL schedule was season 3. Is there any sort of notes either from the previous race that we've had or any other places that you're thinking of as we come to Pocono tonight?
Not really. My notebook is pretty thin on Pocono, to be honest. Just kind of getting a feel for the track here and practice. Definitely think I think there's gonna be a lot of drivers. It's gonna invite some drivers to probably be a little bit more aggressive on the opening laps, but I think we'll see how the race unfolds if we get a long green flag or something. But I think tire wear could be a big factor tonight. It seems from what I've been doing, I've only been able to do some limited testing here and some limited practice, but it seems from what I've been feeling in the car is that corner entry seems a little tighter all the way until the car kind of plants into the middle of the corner, and then it's kind of loose off, so it's almost kind of worst case scenario for what you want the car to feel. So I can definitely see that where you're gonna want to push the car early, but especially on cold tires, this car just does not want to turn. But I think later in the run, the car will start to loosen out, especially once you're sliding the tires more and more off the corner, and that will kind of heat up the tires and kind of make it a looser. So just kind of try to take it easy. That's kind of how my strategy for tracks that I'm not super comfortable with. Just try to take it easy, kind of let everyone else do their own thing, and I'll try to save my stuff for the end.
Well, turning our attention from this race to your current playoff position, you're P6 right now in the standings with a good shot at the moment to point your way into the playoffs. But I know that winning your way in is going to be a lot sweeter. Do you think tonight's going to be the night that, with so many unknowns and your kind of self-declared strategy of take it easy, do you think you've got a good shot at the win tonight to lock yourself in?
Oh man, I can't not say I don't have a good shot because I have to always think I can win every race, right? But it's gonna be tough. There's a lot of fast guys. We'll see. Pocono's been known to throw up some, crazy strategy, some fuel mileage races in real life. Could happen. Could happen. Could happen tonight. Just have to see how the race unfolds. I won't. It's hard for me to say right now because I don't really know how my pace is gonna be. But I feel like once I get a little bit more comfortable later in the race, maybe we'll have a shot at it. But yeah, we'll have to see how it unfolds. I'm not a big fan of my short run speed right now, so I'm hoping we get some longer runs, and then maybe I'll have a chance then.
Well, top 3 at his home track from Charlotte just a few weeks ago, and another top 10 last week at Iowa. Momentum is definitely on your side. Clint, best of luck out there tonight, and hopefully we will see you back up here in the booth after everything's said and done.
All right, thank you guys. Hope to see you in like 2 hours or something like that.
Sounds good. Catch you later, man. That was Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte, P4 last year in the overall standings, one of our playoff contenders, and P6 right now. So he's definitely got some luck and momentum and fortune on his side and a lot of skill behind the wheel of that UNC Charlotte machine.
Yeah, he's always near the top, always a name that we can kind of count on to be in contention for a good points paying race, if not a win. So definitely going to be a name to watch out just throughout the whole season, but also I guess I want to say today.
Well, John, one more quick thing before we start our break. I believe it's that time to make our picks for tonight. The score is 1-0. I won last week. I picked Matt Morton. So I'm not going to pick him again. I'll give you that option. But who is going to win tonight's race?
Hey, you won first. The winner should have to pick first.
All right, fine. You know what? I'm gonna pick Daniel Nanny from Ball State University. He showed some phenomenal speed last week at Iowa, and the week before at Charlotte. And that Ball State machine has definitely got momentum on its side. It's a very, very, very skilled rookie coming out of the Ball State program with Dan Marino at the helm. I think he parks it in victory lane tonight. Plain and simple. I think he's finally got what it takes.
I don't want to. Am I allowed to pick the same person if I didn't get it? Because last week I picked Muhammad Alif on the basis of it was a short track, and I think with his road course experience, it would benefit them there. And I think he did well because he got second on qualifying and finished second. So I think I was pretty spot on. And I think I egged on or hinted at this a little earlier, being that Pocono is a little bit like a road course, how you have to tackle it. So I kind of want to bet on Muhammad Alif again from Ball State. So for this weekend or for this race.
Well, folks, our money is on Ball State tonight. So if one of those Cardinals machines winds up on top of the podium, one of us is going to be really happy. And the other one, maybe not so much. But I believe the time has come. We are going to take a quick break before we get into tonight's action. So, we're going to step aside for just a few minutes, and then when we come right back, it is going to be time for the Future Made by Hand 200 from Pocono Raceway. We'll see y'all in just a minute. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Collegiate iRacing League, where tonight we bring you round 4 of our College Cup Series. Live from the virtual Pocono Raceway for the first time in 7 seasons, it's the Future Made by Hand 200, presented by the Pennsylvania College of Technology. 200 miles, 80 laps around this unique, tricky, 3-turn Pocono Raceway to decide who will be the next driver locked into the College Cup Series playoffs. Right now, those honors go to only 2 drivers so far. Matthew Morton from Ohio State University, with his win last week at Iowa, took the top spot in the grid from Jake Cummings of Wingate University, the only other driver to have won a race this season. But there's a number of drivers throughout the field who are either looking to return to the top spot, like Jason Wallet, Zach DeWale, and R. Muhammad Alif, as well as other drivers searching for their first Cup Series win, like Drew Williams, Charles Wembley, and the hotshot rookie Daniel Nanny. Can they do it at Pocono? And in fact, this is the first time many of our drivers in the field will stare down the tricky triangle in their CIL careers. We haven't been here since Season 3 in fall 2021, where only 10 drivers in our field tonight were on track then, and that was back in the Gen 6 cars. So for all intents and purposes, this is a brand new challenge awaiting our College Cup Series drivers tonight, and we're going to take you flag to flag as we're your commentators for tonight. Zach Lindler alongside John Dinkle in the booth with producers Christian and Keith. And John, this is going to be an extremely fun race to watch.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited for this one. It's a track that these drivers are extremely unfamiliar with, be it that's a pretty new car and a track we haven't raced on, again, as you said, since Season 3, 7 seasons ago. It's going to be an amazing race to watch tonight. So gonna be chaotic, gonna be a long one. These drivers are gonna have to consider about strategy, have to consider about cautions. It's gonna be one hell of a race to watch, and y'all gotta stay tuned.
This is a very, very tricky track indeed, as we've seen in real life in the NASCAR Cup Series. It's very wide, it's pretty flat, and it's very, very long. You can see those long 3 straightaways connecting those 3 turns. Every one of those turns has a different radius and a different banking in the corners. So the drivers have to determine where on the track they're going to specialize in, because these setups that they're using tonight, fixed setups, are pretty much built so that they work in all 3 corners. So they're okay in all 3 corners. So the drivers have to decide which corner they themselves want to be the best in. But the wide track, the long track, the narrow, or the low banked track, only 14 degrees in turn 1, on top of fuel strategy, this is going to make for a chaotic race, just as it does in the NASCAR Cup Series in real life. And I think our drivers are going to have a lot of fun out there tonight.
Yeah, it's such a long track here at Pocono, 2.5 miles, and it's kind of like a half draft track and half intermediate, where kind of gotta stay within the draft to keep within the car in front of you. And like the front straight is so long that you kind of start hitting into the rev limiter with these Gen 7 cars. Meanwhile, the run in turn 3 is not so long, so you gotta try to get a nice run off.
Yeah, and the cautions are going to be especially important because the fuel strategy this time around, anywhere from 35 to about 42 to 45 laps is how long these cars are going to be able to make it on a single tank of fuel. And for an 80 lap race, that puts these drivers really pushing it to try and split it in half to make it a one-stop race. So if a caution comes out, I think you're going to see a lot of the field on pit road trying to keep as much fuel in the car as they can to really benefit them. But also, even coming back from the cautions on the restart, this front stretch is over 90 feet wide. That is a lot of racing room for these drivers on the restart. So you're going to see them fan out 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide going into the corners on the or into turn 1 for the first time coming from the restart and at the drop of the green flag. So this is going to be a very, very interesting race, and anything can happen in these CIL College Cup Series races.
Yeah, certainly anything can happen, and I think we both made our predictions. I chose our Muhammad Ali. I think you chose Daniel Nanny. So we're both rooting on Ball State here, but definitely I think the picks are kind of moot at such an unfamiliar circuit to not just the drivers, but to us as well. So definitely going to be one to be focusing on in many different ways. Strategy, who's got pace, who's got the dominant in which specific turn. It's gonna be fun.
Well, and you brought up a great point that with all 3 of these corners on this track being pretty much completely different from each other, that's going to play into the skills of some of our drivers who are better at road racing or better on the road side of things. They're used to every single corner on track being different, so they know how to attack, how to defend in every corner on track. But at the same time, this track with its long straightaways, that's going to play into favor of some of our drivers that super speedway racing is their thing. So there's a lot of drivers in the field tonight that I really could see getting up inside the top 10 and the top 5 and really challenging for a big points haul, as well as that really, really critical win to lock themselves into the College Cup Series playoffs.
Yeah, we saw it last week with Matthew Morton having scored his second win of the season, so he's kind of taken away one of those spots away from a driver who might need such a locked spot at so early in the season if they don't think they can get in on points. But in a way that opens it up for somebody who knows they won't be up front and has to score in on points. So it's a little bit of give and flow, and if Morton wins today, it's just another extra spot that could be taken by someone who needs qualification based on points. But I think we have our qualifying lap here, so let's take a look real quick. I think, right?
I believe we're going to be riding along with Lucas Moody, another one of those Ball State cars in the field tonight. But he's coming down this long front straightaway, plenty of time on throttle, time to reset yourself, get focused for the quali lap. Barely on the brakes after the 1 cone, carrying a ton of speed through turn 1. You don't want to go all the way down to the seam. You want to leave about a tire width between that yellow line at the bottom of the apex and your car, washing all the way out to the back straightaway, that long pond straightaway. The charge down to turn 2. This is a very quick left-hand corner, slightly banked. It's all about entry here. Can you get the car rotated and rotated quickly to focus on your exit out of turn 2, down the chute, into turn 3? What turn 4, they say here at Pocono. Very long, very flat. This is a corner that takes forever when you're in the car, but you want to quickly glance that apex and wash out as close to the wall as you can down the front stretch to start a new lap.
Yeah, it's such a fast circuit in so many ways, and that long front straight leaves you so much time. Honestly, I've driven this in the simulator a little bit, and honestly, you kind of forget. It's so long that you're just kind of sitting there, and you're like, oh wait, I gotta turn into turn 1, and then you gotta stay focused and in the moment to make sure that you're not gonna fall off and have to do a Chastain wall ride in turn 1.
Well, that would be something there now, wouldn't it?
Take a look at what he did.
Take a look at what he did. But yeah, that qualifying lap, I'm actually pulling up the results right now that we watched from Lucas Moody, was good enough to nab him 5th on the grid. So how about let's go ahead and bring you the rest of the starting grid for tonight's Future Made by Hand 200 presented by the Pennsylvania College of Technology. Producer Christian, I believe, are we getting close to ready for that? Yes, we are. John, take it away.
Row number 1, my prediction, Muhammad Ali taking the pole alongside last week's winner, Matthew Morton from Ohio State University. Row 2, a Ball State lockout. Ball State is up front today. Andrew Stage in row 2 on the inside alongside Zach's prediction of Daniel Nanny. The car that we looked for during our qualifying lap, Lucas Moody from Ball State, is in row 3 alongside Thomas Toomey from University of Virginia. Row 4, Charles Wimbley from Guilford College starts alongside Matthew Nordberg from North Carolina State. Row 5, another Ball State machine of Ben Neller alongside Clint Halterman, who we talked to earlier today from UNC Charlotte.
Row 6 is going to go to Dylan Godinez from the Penn College of Technology, tonight's race sponsor. To his outside is going to be Zach DeWale from St. Clair College. Row 7, Jason Wallet from Drexel University, almost won last week at Iowa. He's looking to try and finish the job today. To the inside of Jake Cummings from Wingate University, one of our drivers who is already locked into the playoffs and our current alumni champion. Row 8 is going to go to Logan Smith from Auburn University, as well as Brandon Schulenberger. Jake Cummings' teammate is going to start right behind him in P16. Row 9, Robbie Vrabel Jr. from St. Clair College will start to the inside of that 33 car of Matthew Burton from East Tennessee State University. And rounding out the top 20 is going to be Athena LeClaire, starting right behind her teammate, Robbie Vrabel Jr., and Austin DeLong from the Penn College of Technology.
Row 21, Kelton Quick from Ball State University will start alongside Timothy Wilms from Drexel University. The row 12 is a Clemson locked-out with Andrew Williams alongside Andrew Burrell. Ricky Paz from Valparaiso University starts on the inside of row 13 alongside Ryan Whitlock from University of Alabama, Huntsville. Michael Seidor from Penn College of Technology start alongside Alex Finnerty in UNC Charlotte from row 14. Row 15, Baruch College's Edward Sanchez is going to start alongside Zachary Tallman from Penn College of Technology.
It's a full field tonight here at Pocono, so we're going to take you through the last of our 40 cars on track. Edwin Onufre will share row 16 with Nick Stockner, the Yameen Green UNT machine, starting next to the Clemson car. Sky Schreck from Oklahoma University will start to the inside of Jake Hall from Clemson. Row 18, Felix Caporale from East Carolina University didn't bring me any ice cream last Thursday. He'll start to the inside of Mark Turek from the Penn College of Technology. Row 19, Trevor Rizzo from Clemson University, Ethan Decatur from Valpo. And row 20, rounding out the field tonight, is going to be Peyton Dulong from Penn State University, as well as Alan Hong from St. Clair College. And that is going to be the starting grid for tonight's Future Made by Hand 200 presented by the Penn College of Technology. You can see at the bottom left of your screen, 80 laps, 200 miles is tonight's race distance. The pit road speed limit is 55 miles an hour, one of the easier pit roads to get on here in the College Cup Series. These teams have 4 sets of tires available for them to use throughout the race. And in the event we have to go to overtime, we have 1 shot at a green flag finish. And there you see that fuel window, 35 to 45 laps. This can be a one-stop race if it goes the distance. But we've got 200 miles to settle this out. Who's going to be the next driver to lock themselves in the playoffs? Muhammad Ali hits the Geico start zone. Barney throws the green, and we're racing again at Pocono. Lap 1 of 80 complete for our triumphant return to Pocono Speedway, and great camera shots from our production crew to show you just all the 2 and 3 wide, maybe even 4 towards the middle of the pack, all the way up and down the field, as finally most of these drivers are going to get settled out single wide. Up in the top 10, it's a draft train of drivers going down the Long Pond straightaway, as Matthew Morton has taken the lead away from Muhammad Alif, relegated back down to third, with his teammate Daniel Nanny squeaking on by to get into that second position early on. And now he's going to have a crack at the lead, but gets loose out of turn 2, still there inside of Matthew Morton, and we've got a battle for the lead already in tonight's event.
Yeah, Muhammad Alif got off to a bit of an unfortunate start. Matthew Morton taking him when they crossed the start-finish line. As I think that was Neuberg who got loose out of turn 3 there. But Nanny going to take over the lead as they completed lap number 2. Ball State taking 1 and 2 after Morton had a bit of an unfortunate run out of turn 2 last lap. So Ball State isn't done yet. They're still fighting, but curious if that start has a bit of a omen for the rest of the race.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of jockeying for position up here at the front of the field. The draft is so strong in these NASCAR Next Gen Cup cars that it definitely has an effect on these long straightaways, the front stretch as well as the back stretch. So you're going to see some drivers maybe use that to their advantage, try to get aggressive early on in the race, take those positions that you can before a caution might come out later on. But at the same time, you might see some drivers playing it a little more conservatively, just tucking in behind the driver behind him, maybe even giving him a good shot to the bumper like Alif is thinking about doing here. A little bump drafting at Pocono never hurt anybody, as Daniel Nanny is going to lead lap number 3.
Yeah, as you said, the drafting is a very considerable component at a circuit like Pocono. Running with their teammates, and they're just. I think we might be trying to do the fuel safe strategy, doing a single stop, and trying to get himself set up the best for doing such a strategy by saving fuel. And it might have been an intentional decision on the behalf of Alif to intentionally surrender the lead. Such that they can save fuel. So we're not sure, but I'm certain Daniel Nanny's going to be burning through fuel as they leave, and they don't have a car to reduce their air resistance.
Yeah, so when you're in the lead like Nanny is right now, you're going to be burning through a lot more fuel per lap relative to the rest of the field, who has that draft behind them. As you see Matthew Morton working underneath Alif, there's a driver who's not going to wait any or play any sort of fuel strategy games, as Morton's going to try and take away second place, can't get the job done in turn 1, as the field is still nose to tail that draft train from first all the way back to the back of the field. Almost every single driver out on track. A couple of retirements already. Trevor Rizzo is out of the race. Sky Shrek and Alex Finnerty into the pits. But yeah, the draft is so strong. It helps you save fuel. You also run a little bit faster. So if you get a couple tenths behind the guy in front of you, that's not a cause for panic. You're going to suck right back up to him on the back stretch or the front stretch anyway.
Yeah, well, you can look at Matthew Morton right behind Alif here, and he's trying to get his nose right below Alif here. And I know we're all considering the fuel strategy here, but we do have to consider the tires as well, because you mentioned that, like this, well, we've all mentioned it throughout the day, but this track feels like a road course, and you want fresh tires on a road course even more. I think even more on an oval, because having a more controllable car, having a more predictable car is always beneficial. So if Morton burns away Alif's tires by pressuring him to use a bit more of that rubber, then as he goes on the inside of turn number 3 again, as we saw last lap, I think if you burn up your opponent's tires, it's certainly going to be a considerable component in how they have to tackle this such a difficult circuit.
And Pocono is a track that's pretty rough on your tires. You know, I think it was it 2022 when Kyle Larson was leading going into the last corner and he blew the tire and wound up giving the race to William Byron. There's a lot of unexpected.
I think it was 48.
or the 48 of Bowman. Yeah, well, it was another Hendrick car that wound up stealing the win from Larson because they just didn't anticipate the level of tire wear that this track has. It's an old surface. It's a rough asphalt surface, and it eats the ever living bejeebus out of your right rear tire. So you got to be really careful, not to overrun it and potentially have it blow out on you unexpectedly, but it'll also overheat that right rear as well as that right front since you're leaning on it so heavy in these braking zones.
Yeah, especially that turn one braking zone because it's just so considerable, just because you have so much speed from such a long straightaway. And all these cars, you can see them all going single file as they enter because the draft is just such an important component.
Yeah, about 190 miles an hour on the entrance of turn one to 135 through the corner. As we saw Charles Wembley now on a march up through the field, he picked off a couple positions last lap. That Guilford College machine is on its way up towards the front.
It'll be neat to see if some of these drivers, I think Wembley might, yeah, as you said, Wembley's been making some moves early on. I'm curious if some of these drivers had an unfortunate qualifying and they're going to be in the different positions. I think Wembley might have been one of them. We've seen him in the top 10 throughout a lot of the previous races, so definitely was a bit of an oddity. I think there's a bit further down. So just being that this track is so different, I think the qualifying is a bit of an oddity as we see Toomey around.
Caution is out on lap 9. Thomas Toomey just got his world rocked by a Ball State driver. And that is going to be some considerable damage to that University of Virginia car. A little miscommunication there possibly between driver and spotter. But wow, what a hit for that 166 machine.
Yeah, just the braking zone. I think it's been a hot topic just of how the braking zone is so long, and in NASCAR stock cars, the brakes are a bit tricky with if you lock up a tire, and as the cars start to coordinate together, it just you start to run out of places to go. We do have a replay of that, although we got a pretty good view of how it happened live. But let's take a look at how this first caution of the race happened to transpire.
Yeah, add that one to the commentator's curse list going on board with Toomey. I believe that is Lucas Moody behind him, presents the attack into turn one. Toomey comes down to block. Moody was there. And Toomey, collects a couple of other drivers. I think that might have been Zach DeWale in that St. Clair car, as well as Jason Wallet in the Drexel car. Little kiss on the nose there for Drexel as he tried to lock those brakes up and slow down in time to miss Toomey.
Do you think there is a bit of a diamond in the rough here? Because Pocono is such a massive circuit that I think Thomas Toomey will have the opportunity to repair their University of Virginia Toyota Camry. Because it doesn't seem like there's too much damage. It's not crabbing or anything. So I think they might have the chance to get that repaired and get back on track before losing a lap.
Yeah, a lot of time. It takes a very long time to get around this track. I believe 70 miles an hour is the pace speed at 2.5 miles. You do the math. It's like an interstate drive, folks. So he's going to be sitting on pit road for a very long time trying to get that Camry fixed up to get back out on track. But yeah, you said it. It really didn't look like there was a lot of suspension damage to that car. So he might have gotten extremely lucky that the iRacing damage gods giveth to him.
Yep, we see right there. He's already out of his pit box. I think it was the only real car in pit lane. We still can see some. As we have everybody coming down pit road.
Ooh, hello.
Everybody is going down.
You know, I didn't think it would happen, but yet here we are. Pit strategy happening early as the entire field is going to come down pit road. Muhammad Alif was able to take the lead away from Daniel Nanny as he's going to get into his pit box right up there at the front of pit road. The advantage is going to go to Alif as you see all the leaders in behind him. Everybody's possibly going to go for 4 tires. Maybe a 2-tire stop might be advantageous, but it looks like all 4 tires going on these cars at the front of the field. A couple of drivers already off and away. Alif is going to get off of pit road first. And who is that behind him? That is Logan Smith from Auburn University in second. That might have been a 2-tire stop that worked out in his favor. But wow, what a move to get up into that third position.
I mean, see on the timing tower, looks like Ryan Whitlock didn't even come down. Or actually, he just pitted. So, pitted a lap later than everybody, which I think might actually be a good decision if it's not one that gets penalized, because you kind of get the free air. You can brake as late as you want with no consideration of anybody else. So, we'll have to see if Whitlock can stay in the lead. But what a stop from Logan Smith, as you mentioned, from Auburn University.
Yeah, Whitlock just he just stayed out.
Oh, wait. So weird.
Yeah, well, he stayed out. Whitlock's your leader. Wow. There's a gutsy call right there, folks.
Well, let's see. This just this is going to be a very interesting call from Whitlock to just stay out. I imagine he got like a lot of positions just because everybody pitted. So even if the last car on track didn't pit, they would be leading this race, and I think you get an extra point for leading a lap. So at least in certain series. So is it the same here?
I don't believe so, but I've been pushing for that to come back.
I feel like it should, because it would make some interesting strategy calls. But we can still see some cars straggling from the pit lane. We saw a Valparaiso car that just left in the background here, but lights are out, so we have one more lap before we go around, and Ryan Whitlock didn't pit on this caution. It's going to be the only car with a slightly depleted fuel tank and slightly asterisk worn tires fighting against a whole field of people who did come into the pit road, and I'm certain he's not going to hold this lead for long.
Couple of housekeeping things during that caution. Thomas Toomey has been sent to the back of the field, insult to injury there for the Virginia driver for being at fault for that collision with Lucas Moody. And the free pass lucky dog has gone to Trevor Rizzo from Clemson University. But yeah, I think all of these drivers in the field are going to be looking at this move by Whitlock and kind of using it as a litmus test of how much did my tires wear over that 10-lap stint. Can I get away with staying out? Because one of two things is going to happen. Either Whitlock is going to be able to keep up with these leaders on pace and stay with them, or he is going to get absolutely crushed on this restart by, like you said, the newer tires. He's got 10-lap old tires. All these guys just came down pit road for 4 fresh sets of Goodyear rubber. But this is going to be an interesting restart. Ryan Whitlock staying out in the lead. Logan Smith from Auburn University with the 2-tire stop on pit road, working his way up into that second row as the pace car makes the hard left onto pit road. Ryan Whitlock's going to hit the restart zone. Barney throws the green, and we're back to racing at Pocono. Looking out of the back bumper there for a second of that 81 Alabama Huntsville machine as Muhammad Alif now looks to the inside. He got the better run out of turn 3. Alif's going to clear the Huntsville machine going into turn 1. And that was a spectacular first lap from Ryan Whitlock, but we're going to see how that car holds up in the dirty air.
You can see some fanning out further back. This is a completely different Alif that we saw earlier on in this race, where he was saving behind his teammate, the Nanny, in the 30 Ball State car a couple of hours back. Well, we have someone in the wall. I think that is Logan Smith, who did that 2-tire stop. Who's now lost loads of positions in their 34 car. think they're now in the 10th position when they started this restart in the 3rd position. So definitely not how they would have wanted to start off this section of the race.
As you see, 4
Whoa.
wide towards the back
There
of the
they
field, and
go.
it doesn't work. There's a Drexel car and a PCT car in the wall. The caution comes out, and we saw that brewing from a mile away. And that's actually Baruch College. Edward Sanchez went into the wall is that Jason Wallet? Timothy Wilms from Drexel University has gone into the wall as well, and you saw that coming from a mile away as the drivers went virtually 4 wide down the front stretch. It looked like a squeeze between a couple of them, and those two guys definitely got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, it was one of the big elements that we led off during our pre-race show was just how wide the front straight is. I think we got it briefly 4 wide there before they started to collide, and yeah, it was not a very good position that any of these drivers would want to be in. And it seemed like a little side-by-side contact, but to know for sure, let's take a look at the replay of how the second caution of the night transpired.
There you see, oh man, Wilms to the outside just got turned, trying to go for a space that didn't exist, and Sanchez just kind of collected in that spin. Couldn't quite tell who that was in the middle of that little 3 wide stint.
Like an East Tennessee car.
Was that Matthew Burton, the 33?
I think so. But yeah, it seemed like that was just I'm gonna run with it. That East Tennessee car behind the caused the incident, and sort of I'm not a steward, so it's not my work, but yeah, Matthew Burton was in a kind of awkward position to have to work with both the car on his high side and low side, and I think just a little bit of shimmying from left to right from the cars around him, and kind of just ran out of room, and the Baruch College car was kind of just an unlucky bystander that got wrapped up in that incident. So I don't think these cars are going to be out, but definitely not in a position they want to be in.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see very many cars down pit road this time. We got about a lap and a half of good racing there. So Ryan Whitlock, the strategy currently working in his favor, as actually Armand is going to come down pit road. No, he was trying to bait a couple of drivers. He baited me pretty good, making that hard left turn onto pit road. Tried to catch a couple of drivers out, but nobody took the bait.
And Ryan Whitlock probably could have fallen for it, being like the only car that didn't go down pit road the last caution, not this time. But I mean, I think he's trying to do the one stop potentially, or at least he's going to try. But
well, they still can't make it to the end. So the one green stop is definitely still on, and I think these drivers now have a bit more of a cushion now, some breathing room, where they don't have to pit right at the middle of the race, and they don't have to possibly fuel save a little bit. But I think we're going to definitely see some harder racings. Like you said before, cautions breed cautions, especially with how wide this track is. As there you see Trevor Rizza once again unlapping himself for Clemson University as the recipient of the lucky dog. But yeah, the front stretch I think is going to be our action point, because we've seen already both of our incidents occurring in the middle of the front stretch where we talked about that 3-4 wide and also into that heavy braking zone into turn 1.
yeah, definitely. I think it is probably my favorite part of the track. It's just how long that front straight is, so you get a lot of time to plan. And I mean, my thing is that you start to fall asleep, but it's like the Mulsanne straight at Le Mans. I think we can say that. But where it's like it's so long that you kind of just get to admire the paint scheme of the car in front of you. I know a lot of these drivers have some really nice paints, especially they all had to make them after iRacing released the new Toyota Camry and Ford Mustang Dark Horse.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of the drivers out there in the Toyota and the Ford have already updated their paint schemes to reflect those new models. Of course, those gorgeous new, the new 2024 Camry that the Cup Series is running, as well as, like you said, the Mustang Dark Horse on the Ford side. Gorgeous cars out there that we saw debut this past weekend at the Clash, the Busch Light Clash for the Coliseum. Very entertaining race. Gorgeous cars out there. And even better, I'd say, looking on the iRacing side. But looking at our front row, it is Muhammad Alif, Ryan Whitlock to his outside, Alif's teammate Daniel Nanny to the inside of Whitlock coming to this restart on row 2. So strength is going to come in numbers, especially when the pack fans out as wide as they do going into turn 1. I'm seeing Matthew Morton has worked his way up into the 4th position. Then Charles Wembley, Andrew Stagey, 6th. Clint Halterman, 7th. Ben Neller in P8. Lucas Moody, P9. And Logan Smith down in 10th position. That's the top 10 for the restart. I think I count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Ball State cars inside the top 10?
Yeah, and our money's
That's
on
insane.
2 of them, so...
we got bets on 2 of them, so the odds in our favor. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting restart. It's going to be Chevy versus Toyota on the front row as all these drivers make their way through this long and winding turn 3, very flat, very long, and wait in anticipation for that Mustang pace car to make the hard left onto pit road. Come on, Benny. Anytime now, buddy. There you go. Pace car is on pit road. Muhammad Alif is the control car. He hits the restart zone. Barney throws the green, and we are back to racing at Pocono. Whoa, Halterman with some trouble up there just inside the top 10. We saw a big wiggle out of that 077 49ers machine for UNC Charlotte. Not sure if he maybe had some contact with, who is that to his outside? That's the 79 of Ben Neller. A couple of Ball State cars up in front of him that he's going to have to try and work his way around.
It's going to be like deja vu. Like, I just passed a Ball State machine. Neller is going to try to cut down low, and Clint Halterman is doing a very good defensive driving to make sure that we don't get back under caution here.
He's under attack from another Ball State car. Man, these Cardinals are everywhere.
Front, left, right, behind you. The Ball State is inevitable.
We got the Great Wall of Ball being assembled inside the top 10, and Ball State's inevitability as Lucas Moody overshooting the corner just a little bit. Great save from Halterman to keep the car straight as he's going to be the top of 3 wide going into turn 3. That's Logan Smith on the bottom, pinched between, that's actually Moody and Halterman pinched between each other coming into turn 3. That move does not work, and they somehow make it stick. Here comes Austin DeLong, Drew Williams, and the rest of the field behind him.
Heard a little bit of paint. Halterman and Neller were right there. Given absolutely no space, going to take everything that they can. And I think Clint Halterman is going to have a slight advantage as they exit turn number 1 here. Yeah, by far. Has already a car length. Now DeLong's going to try to fight back. I think that is Drew Williams as well is going to try to make a little bit of space. That was Moody, excuse me. Turn
now,
2,
after all of that, Dylan Godinez from the Penn College of Technology has inherited the lead of the alumni class. Our drivers split into 2 basically subdivisions within the race. If they have a 1 or 2 digit number and a blue banner on the windshield, they are a student. They are actively enrolled in college and taking classes and taking time out of their busy week to race with us. If they're an alumni, they've got a 3-digit number and the red banners on top of the car, as you see on that Drew Williams Clemson machine. That means they're taking time out of their busy work schedules to come race with us. So it's a unique opportunity here in the CIL to have students and alumni not only racing each other for the playoffs championship, but there are also 4 individual championships up for grabs. Student and college titles in both student and alumni divisions. So right now, Dylan Godinez, although he is being scored 8th, you can see him 2 cars up in front of Halterman. Although he's running 8th right now, he will get recorded with the class win for the alumni and score some massive points for PCT and himself in those championships.
Yeah, it's a lot of the dynamics that we can sometimes see between alumni and students. It's a nice opportunity for these drivers to represent their school even after graduation. You can see, I think that is Stagey in the P5th position alongside of Ryan Whitlock.
Oh, Halterman's in the wall!
I believe it's going to stay green, but that is going to be a little bit of a scrape in there.
Oh, he's got damage too.
Yeah, for sure.
You see that car wiggling back and forth down the straightaway. He's got suspension damage to that Charlotte machine. It was going so well, and then some contact sent him into the turn 1 wall. He kept it straight, but unfortunately, it looks like that right front paid the price. That machine's going to probably have to come down pit road very, very soon. We're going to try to get a replay of that incident, but Halterman is going to fall through the ranks very, very quickly here. And he stays out.
I think he just didn't have the opportunity to get down with, I think it's Jake Cummings on his low side. Now he's going 3 wide with DeWale as well. But yeah, I think that damage is going to be very considerable. And maybe he's just waiting to see if a caution comes out, but I don't think it's going to come out because I think with all this action that we've seen, everyone's started to get spread out. And it's not going to come, I don't think.
So we're going to go side by side and take a look at the replay of what exactly happened to Salterman. So pay attention to the bottom of the screen. We're going to see exactly how he picked up that damage. It looks like there was a PCT car behind him. No, he just got loose on entry, and that car got hooked into the wall, and Austin DeLong from PCT collected in that as well. But it looks like he made it out relatively unscathed.
He's going to keep fighting, but he's just been bleeding positions, it seems. Now, I think he's lost about 4 positions the last lap, so I think at this point he should try to get that machine down pit road and get some repairs to hopefully salvage what has now suddenly turned into a very sour race for him.
And went from great to terrible for Halterman in the span of about a half a lap. As he lost out on a couple spots. Actually lost the alumni lead to Godinez, as now we got another wreck. That's Godinez and Williams involved, and Lucas Moody, the disappointment on his face as that car goes turn right into the wall. Caution is out on lap 25.
Right when you said Godinez's name and that incident had occurred. Very interesting one. It was another one.
List.
Yeah, another one. We need to start like tallying these up. See who gets his comment. See who's more responsible for the commentator's curse. Is it you or me or some other guest commentators? Like, yeah, it just seemed like another one of those 3 wide accidents.
We got to get the Chili Bowl flip counter, but it's the commentator's curse counter here in the. And right now the score is broadcast booth 2, drivers 0.
How are they going to?
I'm sorry, Dylan. But Lucas Moody's going to pull that car down on pit road. You can see the jacks going up as that Ball State crew is going to try and fix his machine. We're going to take a look at that incident. We're going to get a replay real quick. 3 cars involved in that. Dylan Godinez and Drew Williams, the alumni class leaders, also involved in that crash with Lucas Moody, who I believe got the worst of it, as he's currently the only car on pit road right now.
They were going to give an gonna get a look at this. Or exiting turn 2, Godinez gets a hit from another Ball State machine, gets off the groove, and I think seemed like the Ball State machine of Moody seemed to expect that they would have been higher and started to run up, and then Drew Williams was there. He got turned around and also collected Godinez. So definitely not.
And the whole field comes down pit road.
It's only been about 16 laps since. I think there was still some.
Half of the whole field comes down pit road.
Yeah, Muhammad Alif pitted. We have Whitlock. Some PCT cars, some other Ball State cars. So yeah, it's kind of a divergence here. We have that leader, Matthew Morton, I believe, is one of them that decided to stay out. Out of all the leaders, out of the people who qualified up top, none of them, aside from Muhammad Alif, wanted to come down the pit road. So,
and Alif will very easily win the race off of pit road, but it's chaos behind them for the rest of the spots, as we're going to wait for the grid to shuffle out when they cross the timing stripe again to see who is in the lead and who shuffled out where. But already some strategy calls in the race. We're not even halfway through, and half the field electing to come down pit road to get fresh tires, and half of them staying out. I think they saw Ryan Whitlock kind of make it work on older tires.
Yeah, and now these leaders have I try to call it the critical mass, where if you're on your own, like Whitlock was that last restart, the only car that had kind of that used tires, you're a sitting duck. You're the what is the word, like a duck out of water. You're not in the right place. If you're the only car.
Fish out of water.
Fish out of water. That's what it is. I'm not an English major, so it's not mine to know. But it's a really odd place to be the only car on depleted tires. But once you have like what we have here, where it seems like there's like 12 cars that didn't come down pit road this time, I call that the critical mass, where it's like you get a buffer where Matthew Morton up front here has a bunch of cars that is going to stand in the way of these fresh tire cars that did come down the pit road this time around, and himself to kind of stay up front. And when they finally catch up, or if they finally catch up, they'll all be they all have worked through those fresh tires, and now it's going to be a level playing field when they do catch up. So I do like the strategy call for these cars up front, but going to have to see how it plays out.
And Matthew Morton is going to be the pole sitter for this restart. Daniel Nanny to his outside. Charles Wembley, Andrew Stagey in row 2. Matthew Nordberg, Robbie Vrabel Jr. cracking the top 10 for the first time tonight. Will start in row number 3. Ricky Paz and Ethan Decatur, couple of Valpo teammates starting side by side in row 4. That's going to help them to their advantage. And rounding out the top 10, Peyton Dulong, the last car who stayed out, and Muhammad Alif, the first car who came to pit road. So 9 cars right now on this off strategy at the moment. The rest of the field came down pit road and took 4 fresh Goodyear tires. So this is going to be an interesting duel on the restart to see how quickly these cars on new tires can slice their way up through the field, as well as how well these cars ahead can defend against those onslaught of attacks.
Yeah, lights are out. We're about to get back to green. Just one more turn to go. The turn 3 on this Lake Pocono, the tricky triangle. So one more to go, and we'll be back underway.
Through turn 3, one more time. This agonizingly long turn 3 as these cars get rearing and ready to go racing once again. They're going to restart on lap 29 of 80. We are a third of the way through this race already. As there you see Benny make the hard left onto pit road. Matthew Morton is going to hit the Geico restart zone, and we're going to go back to racing here at Pocono. We're going to ride on board with Andrew Stagey through restart. bit late on the brakes there for Stagey, as it's a disastrous restart for him. He's already lost 2, now looking at 3 positions on this restart, and his teammate Muhammad Alif is now breathing down his back bumper, trying to overtake him, as the first car on that new tire strategy didn't work as well as we thought it would that time around.
But they do have some familiar faces. Muhammad Alif, as you mentioned, a teammate right behind them. They know they're going to be respectful, just that they're both on the Ball State team here. So definitely not the restart that Stagey would have wanted. But I don't know if to blame that on just unfortunate placement in cars he was battling or tires, but yeah, definitely did not get the start they wanted.
And I think next restart that we have, we need to go up to that Goodyear blimp and keep an eye on turn 1, because I think they were 4 wide at one point towards the back of the field going through turn 1. It was an incredible sight to see these cars make it out alive out of turn 1, 4 wide. But we're still battling for position up here at the front. Matthew Morton has pulled out to about a 5/10 of a second lead. That's one of the biggest leads we've seen all day, actually, over Charles Wembley and Guilford College, trying to defend against Daniel Nanny and Ball State University. But Matt Nordberg and the rest of the lead pack is behind that 37 car.
Have a little bit of side-by-side stuff with these cars trying to take a different line to get that clean air. And you're running right behind Wembley. I think Wembley doing good defense to maintain the second position behind the Ball State car, number 30. Nordberg's up there pretty well. I think he's been doing a pretty good job today, it seems, so far at least. So it's good to see if he can make anything come from his current success. So.
Yeah, Nordberg, one of those drivers that we always seem to talk about, but only because he's gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to luck. But right now, battling inside the top 5, the alumni leader against Robbie Vrabel Jr. right now from St. Clair College. He's currently right smack in the middle of that lead pack that's chasing down Matthew Morton. He thought about a look to the inside of Daniel Nanny for third place. Thought better of it and tucked himself back into line, but he is going to go low through the corner to get that clean air on the nose of his car and then sneak right back in line behind Nanny. But he actually got out of turn 1. He might have this pass complete by the time they get into turn 2. No, but he is going to be alongside a little bit later on the brakes. It's going to force that Ball State machine to the outside, but Nanny is going to have the better run through turn 2, as now here comes a He came like a rocket ship out of turn 2, and he's now in this mix.
That fresh tire advantage displaying itself again. Nanny had a really good run out of turn 2, and I think that stalled Nordberg a bit, as he now has lost that position to Robbie Vrabel Jr. And getting a bit more gap between these cars, but Morton is running away half a second ahead of Wembley. Whereas I imagine that at that distance, the draft is a lot less necessary. So we can see a leaf on the inside of Nordberg there is going to take the the 6th position, as I think it stalled out again. So I don't know if we can get a look back there, but definitely some give and take happening right now. Further back with the Leaf trying to make what he can with these fresh tires.
Here comes Muhammad Alif.
Yeah, going into turn 3 here. I think where this turn being so flat, I think the fresh tires might have a good advantage here. As you can see, it blows up massively, and he might have a run on the front straight if Nordberg doesn't cut him off, but he does. Doing some good defensive stuff to maintain this 5th position.
Nordberg defending for his life right now. Muhammad Alif giving him a nice shot down the front stretch. Now the Ball State car looks to the inside, going to try and take the position away from Nordberg on entry. He's there. He's got the move. Can he complete the pass? Nordberg's going to have the better run coming out of turn 1. Look at that momentum shift going down the backstretch. He's going to gap Alif by at least half a car, maybe even, yes, a full car, maybe even 2 cars by the time they get to turn 2. That move did not work for Alif at all.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if by this point the tires are starting to get their agent put into them and they're not going to comply as much. But he's going to make the move down into turn 3, I guess, trying to make the brakes work instead. And again, he gets alongside, but Nordberg gets a hell of a run on the outside, and it's going to maintain the position unless Leaf can get a bit of side draft action going on and try to fight back into turn 1 here, but I do not think it's going to happen as he tucks right behind him.
And we do have a battle for the lead. The battle for the lead is on. I saw Matt to the inside of Daniel Nanny into turn 1. Can he get the pass complete? No, actually, Morton's on the outside. He's going to have the momentum. He is going to get the pass done. New leader, Matthew Morton, over Daniel Nanny, who took the lead away pretty early on that restart. But we now have a 4-car breakaway at the front of the field, led by the Pied Piper, Matthew Morton from Ohio State University.
Yeah, it seems like Matthew Morton is always up front here. Yeah, I feel like we're saying his name every single race, and for good reason. He knows what he's doing and gets wonderful pace. But Nanny is trying so desperately to get some good runs out of these turns here to try to take the lead away and start to demand the pace.
Nanny put the hammer down coming out of turn 3. He got a great run, but Morton a little slow off the corner as caution number 4 of the evening is going to come out on lap 36, just when things got good. We're going to try and see exactly what happened. We're going to chalk this down to debris at the moment.
Seems like Morton was a little happy about that. We could see that camera. He was smiling, doing some chuckling after the caution came out. So maybe he thought that Nanny had a really good run coming on, and the caution kind of gave him the saved by the bell type moment there.
Yep, the yellow flag giveth and the yellow flag taketh. If you're Morton, you're happy that one came out because now you don't have to defend. But if you're Nanny and you know that momentum was on your side, you're thinking, man, I got to do all that again?
Still waiting to hear what exactly was the cause of, I believe this is caution number 4 of the night. Hearing from our producer that Lucas Moody had an incident.
The problem's beginning to strike for the Ball State team. Lucas Moody, his second incident involvement tonight. He had the contact collision with the 808 of Godinez and the 123 of Williams. But we're going to try and get a replay to see exactly what happened. So Matthew Morton has retained the lead for the time being. Daniel Nanny right behind him. And then it's Robbie Vrabel Jr., Charles Wembley. Matthew Nordberg retains his spot in the top 5. And then Muhammad Alif working his way up from 10th to 6th. As we're going to check and see if anybody comes down pit road this time. I don't believe we're going to have any takers since our drivers have already used 2 of their 4 sets of tires so far this race. Maybe some of our front runners who stayed out that time are going to come down this time by.
I think
as we see them making their way down towards the bottom of the track.
I think they might consider it because I think once this race gets back to underway, it's going to be about halfway left, and you could make it on a single pit stop. Or actually, you could actually make it to the end. I think estimation was about 45 laps. And I think Nordberg and Nanny and Vrabel and a lot of people.
Nordberg stays out.
Oh.
So all of the leaders are coming down pit road, as a lot of them, I think, recognize that we are now at the threshold of being able to make it to the end of the race. With that 45 lap pit window at the maximum number of laps you can complete, and with the cautions we've had today, these drivers can definitely make it to the end on this stop. But will they have enough fuel for overtime if that becomes a thing? Muhammad Alif in the first pit stall. All the cars getting 4 sets of tires. Alif is the first one off of pit road. Who is it going to be behind him? Is it going to be more? Nanny have gotten him by an inch. But what a race off of pit road for second place.
Yeah, Alif was a little far back. I think it was about the 5th or 6th car as he went into pit road and going to decide on the 2-tire pit stop to take, I want to say, is the effective lead of the race away from Morton and Nanny here. So definitely a bit of an interesting call. I think we saw it from the Auburn of Logan. What was it?
Yeah, Logan Smith from Auburn.
Thank you. Logan Smith.
As I think we have
earlier.
As I think we have found the cause of caution, whatever happened to Lucas Moody. We're going to go ahead and take a look at that and see what happened.
We're riding on board. Timothy Williams looking behind. There's the 13 Ball State car behind, and it looks like
gosh.
25 down low. Spun Lucas Moody around. They're looking on board this time of Lucas Moody. And
Yep, hang on, folks. This is going to hurt. Ouch.
Massive impact there for number 13 Ball State car, and they are certainly done for the day.
Yeah, it looks like Moody might have thought he was clear, but obviously, as you saw, was not clear, and the whole front end of that car has been completely ripped off, and I believe that is going to be near terminal damage for Lucas Moody, as he's going to be sitting on pit road for a very long time. But I believe he has climbed out of the car. Maybe we can get him up here in the booth and try and talk to him and see exactly what happened.
Lights are out in the pace car. About to get this race back underway. It's going to be lap number 40 once we do get restarted. So our little prediction that this race is going to be cut about halfway is pretty spot on. So excited that this is going to be a bit of an interesting strategy call. We had about half drivers stay out. And
Matthew Nordberg has inherited the lead of this race by virtue of staying out. Once again, it's going to be Robbie Vrabel Jr. to his outside. Or excuse me, no, that's Zach DeWale from St. Clair College to his outside. The number 2 of Ball State, that's Kelton Quick to the inside of Michael Seidor from Penn College of Technology, our first 2 rows. Ryan Whitlock has worked his way back up inside the top 5, but it's strength in numbers for PCT, as Austin DeLong is going to start right behind his teammate for this restart. But we are ready to go racing once again, as Benny, the pace car driver, is going to turn hard left onto pit road. Matt Nordberg is the control car for NC State. He's going to floor it in the restart zone. Barney's got the green flag in hand. He says, send it, and we're back to racing at Pocono. As they fan out 2 and 3 wide once again on the Long Pond straightaway, heading into the tunnel turn 2. A lot of cars jockeying for position. New tires versus old tires versus even older tires. 3 different strategies right now on track, and it's a battle to see which one is going to prevail, as when they cross the stripe, we will be officially halfway through tonight's race.
Yeah, these tire strategies making a lot of give and take, and these drivers having to navigate a lot of differently paced cars here. I think as we see this 225 that we're focusing on right now, which I think was the one of the components of our previous caution that it's causing this restart. But yeah, you can just see how compact everything is compressed right now. Drivers having so little room. I think we saw a little bit of contact even as some of these drivers left turn number 1 on this on the previous lap. So it's just a lot of these drivers having to mind their area to make sure that they do not end their race prematurely here.
And a premature race end is exactly what happened to Lucas Moody, who's going to join us now out of the car, out of the race. Lucas, what happened in that incident? It went from 0 to 100 for you.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate. I put in a lot of practice over the weekend. I had a lot of pace this weekend, and that first incident, I think it was I wanted to go down the inside of Andrew Williams because I think I had a little bit more pace than him in turn 2. So I go to make the move down the inside, and as I'm coming up the track, I believe someone got loose, or someone hit someone, got loose, and put him to the right side of Andrew Williams, putting us 3 wide. And I was not going to make it 3 wide. I mean, I was trying to avoid it, but I was understeering, and then my spotter goes, "You're 3 wide. You're on the bottom." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm done." So that was the first one. And my second one, I'm racing with 5 minutes of damage probably. My wheel is 10 degrees to the left on the straight, and I'm just trying to hang in there. I'm still, even with the damage, a little bit quicker than some of the cars ahead, so I make some moves. And then I don't know if they showed it, but I had some unfortunate contacts with a teammate I was trying to let by, and it got me a little bit loose into turn 1, and then turn 2, someone understood into me, and I went into the wall, and then turn 3, I got sent down the inside, and I'm pretty sure I was clear. I got the penalty for it, unfortunately, but it was so close. I might even try to appeal it, just like I appealed last week, but I failed last week. Maybe I'll get it this week, but it was so close, and I had damage, and it was just an unfortunate race, especially starting from P5. But
Well, that drop week is definitely going to come to your help. Yeah, hard hit for you, took you out of the race, but a very eventful couple of laps for you there. But hopefully we'll see you back in here next week in contention once again. Glad you're okay. Didn't snap any wrists on the wheel. But yeah, thanks for joining us up here in the booth, and we'll catch you soon, man.
yep, hopefully I get to talk to you guys Wednesday.
Yep, catch you later.
Yep, see you.
That was Lucas Moody, who wrecked out just a couple of laps ago, that brought out the most recent caution. You can hear the disappointment in his voice. A lot of practice for him for this weekend, and it all came crashing down in just a couple of laps.
Yeah, that's kind of the nature with such a circuit that is so unfamiliar to a lot of these drivers, putting in practice to counteract how unfamiliar this track is with a car that we haven't raced here and a track that has been gone for 7 seasons. So hopefully when this track comes around again, these drivers have a bit more knowledge about how to tackle such a difficult circuit.
And while we were talking to Lucas, the floodgates absolutely opened up here just inside the top 10, as this has been a phenomenal elbows out battle from about P7 all the way back to P15. These drivers are jockeying for position. The leader of this pack right now, Ryan Whitlock for Alabama Huntsville. You see Jake Cummings and Edwin Onofre battling between the two alumni for position there, not only on track but also in that championship, with Charles Wembley trying to put some distance between himself and a couple of cars behind, as the 5th caution of the night comes out. That is, I believe, is that
like Jason Wallet?
That's Jason Wallet, who has gone around coming out of turn 1.
It's gonna be interesting. Doesn't seem like he has any damage. I think this might have been a solo car spin out of turn number 1, which I imagine might have had a contributor car spinning him around, because I feel like you get more understeer out of 1. So maybe it lived power too early, but we'll have to see once we can get a replay here for how this how Jason Balot happened to get spun around out of 1. So sit tight with us for a second, yeah, and let's give a look at how Jason Balot got spun around.
So we're going to be watching the 76 machine, the Drexel Dragons car. Is this a 225 of Mark Turk to his outside? Yeah, he did have a little help there. Got up into the outside, or got up into Turk on the outside, pinched both of them into the wall, and Wallet got the worst end of that collision.
Yeah, just another incident that we've seen similar to others where 2 cars, spotters are either not communicating properly, or maybe their ears are full of these high volume V8 engines, and they unfortunately miss a call and start to collide and exiting a turn and cause this caution. So it seems like Wallet doesn't have any damage. I believe that 223 is also going to be fine. So seems like they're gonna just continue on like nothing happened.
Yeah, there's some front end damage to that 76 car, but I think it's all cosmetic at the moment, so he should be able to get that thing pulled down pit road and fixed up. But I think what also contributed to that incident was coming out of turn 1, that corner is deceptively narrow on exit. That wall comes at you very, very, very quickly. So I think both Wallet and Turek anticipated that they had more room than they actually did. As you see, the leaders who stayed out last time are now coming down to pit road.
Yeah, I can get behind this call. You have about 45 laps was the far end on our prediction on how far fuel could last. But I was surprised is that Alif and Moody and some of these other drivers that were at front but pitted under the last caution are pitting as well. So I feel like this is like Alif's fourth pit stop. Gonna make it out of the pit road up front with a massive gap to some of the other cars. I didn't catch if he got only 2 tires, but Leaf comfortable lead up front exiting pit road. And I think Nanny and Morton actually got out up front.
And I think these drivers recognize that this is most likely the last pit stop of the race if we go green from here on out. You're well within the pit window. You're well underneath the minimum laps. You can make it to the end plus a green-white checkered CIL overtime finish. So a smart call from the drivers to just go ahead and pull in and pull the trigger, get it done and out of the way. But also, like you said, a little concern for some of the drivers who did come down, who have been down pit road a lot, like our Muhammad Alif, who might have already burned through all 4 sets of their tires. iRacing does not give you the option to put scuffs on, so once you put new tires on the car, the old ones are basically thrown in the trash can.
Let's recycle a little bit. We'll say they put them in the tire barriers, but yeah, you don't get use of them anymore. So we'll have to see what happens, and like hopefully iRacing can start adding that as a feature. That would be nice to have as an option, especially in like endurance racing.
Yeah, so there you see the pit stop counter on the timing tower. DeWale, Alif, Logan Smith, Jake Hall from Clemson, all have made 3 pit stops so far this race. Everybody else made 2. Jake Hall and Ricky Paz up inside the top 10 for the first time tonight. How about that?
Yeah, a lot of shuffling from this from the whole field. It seems with all these cautions are really shaken up where some of these drivers find themselves. So still got some of the familiar names up front: Alif, Morton, Wimberly, Nanny, but definitely some names that we aren't familiar with, or at least are expected normally a bit further down. Like as you said, Paz is one of them. I think Logan Smith as well is a name that is a bit of a surprise in the top 10, and I welcome that. So definitely some eyes to watch to see if they try to take as much as they can out of this restart to try to find themselves some extra positions.
A lot of really pretty race cars up inside the top 10. You got the Ball State Red Machines, that orange and purple Clemson car, the gold Valpo car as well. I need to convince some of our social media admins to maybe do a paint scheme bracket at some point on the social. So pay attention to that coming out this week and vote for your favorite paint schemes that are released. But we are about ready to go racing once again here from Pocono. Zach DeWale, our Muhammad Alif on the front row, Matthew Morton, Charles Wembley just behind them, Daniel Nanny, Robbie Vrabel Jr., row 3, Logan Smith, Jake Hall, row 4, Andrew Stagey, Ricky Paz rounding out the top 10 for this restart. As when they take the green flag, it's going to be 32 laps of racing left in this event. Zach DeWale, the control car, as the pace car makes the hard left onto pit road. DeWale's going to hit the Geico restart zone, hit the gas. Barney's going to throw the green flag in the air, and we're back to racing at Pocono. Oh, there's 6 wide in the turn, and it ends in disaster. Huge crash.
That was, I could see that from immediately. You said what, 6 wide?
That was going to happen.
Oh no. Godinez, Kelton Quick,
Schulenberger also involved.
Some of the worst.
Oh man.
Doing the Danny Ricciardo, I think, what was that? Baku, where he reversed in some. Was it? Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but yeah, that was very clearly not going to work. I could see that happening. I wanted to chance that, but yeah, think it was like 4 wide that then became 6 wide and just nowhere to go for anybody. And it seems like it's the big one.
I think we can call that the big one. About 5 or 6 cars involved in that one. As you see, Kelton Quick towing that car to pit road. It looks like that thing is more likely cooked than not. So that's now 2 ball steam machines out of the race within the span of about 5 or 6 laps or so. But we're going to take a look at that replay and see just exactly how that started.
Already here, as we've pointed out before, it's
Oh,
already 5 wide here.
Oh,
and
no.
it keeps going. The St. Clair car gets there, the Penn College Technology car gets there, and a little bit of movement. And Schillenberger was just
involved. Nick Stockner as well. Mark Turek sneaking through, as well as Trevor Rizzo. So Nick Stockner once again involved in a wreck, not under his own regard, but Kelton Quick and Dylan Godinez definitely getting the worst of that incident. Try to get on board of Nick Stockner maybe to watch all of that unfold in front of him with just nowhere to go for that 124 Clemson car.
Yeah, that was just chaos. I mean, we even see it just as a static image when we got to the replay. It's like just completely haunting, traumatizing almost, just to see that much. And we already knew what happened, but just put that in the Louvre as images that convey a very, very strong feeling.
Yeah, that one will also wind up on the socials at some point this week, I'm sure. We went 6 wide and it didn't work.
When have I heard that before?
Eat your heart out, Moonhead.
I mean, there's so many tracks where even just going 3 wide or trying barely a 4 wide like Talladega or Daytona, and it almost certainly will end in disaster. Whereas here, 6 wide is something that these drivers will try, and I mean the outcome is the same. It's multiple cars getting taken out, including some that didn't even try to cause our very spread out field.
I don't think there's any track where you can make 6 wide work. But unofficial, maybe I don't know. I don't think it's wide enough.
Only in the Formula.
The problem is I think Pocono is really the only track that you can even go 6 wide. Maybe turn 1 at Coda, but it's not going to work either way, as we just saw there. But
how that one tightens up after like the braking zone, like after the apex, it tightens up so drastically that
it goes from like 120 feet wide to like 40 after the turn, and it's always hilarious. But unofficially involved in that wreck, Brandon Schulenberger, Dylan Godinez, Nick Stockner, Kelton Quick, Edwin Onofre. But we are going to ride on board with, I believe, Dylan Godinez to get his POV of this incident. We're going to do that quickly as we're going to get ready to restart here in just a few moments. So riding on board with that Penn College of Technology machine, and watch how quickly this unfolds in front of you.
Holy cow.
Goodness. That was Austin DeLong, sorry. Athena Leclerc also involved in that crash. But we got the field re-racked after caution number 6 on the evening. They're going to restart at 53. It's going to bring us pretty close to 2/3 of race distance done, so it's going to become crunch time for a lot of these drivers. Very much been a caution breeds cautions kind of race. The short run speed has prevailed, and that has gone the way of Matthew Morton and Zach DeWale, who currently lock out the front row. It's Charles Wembley and Muhammad Alif behind them in row 2. Robbie Vrabel Jr. and Daniel Nanny in row 3. And this is going to be a great restart to watch, as hopefully we don't do that again. We have learned our lesson to not go 6 wide into turn 1. Let's not do that again. But
really 7 wide.
6 didn't work. Let's try 7. Sure, why not? Zach the Whale is the control car once again on the restart. Benny pulls the pace car onto pit road. Barney's got the green flag in hand. Zach the Whale hits the restart zone, hits the gas. Barney throws the green, and we're back to racing at Pocono. Three wide coming out of turn one for Ball State Clemson, and there's a Valpo car in that mix. The battle to be just inside the top 10. That's Jake Hall with a little tap to the back of Andrew Stagey. He got loose, but saves it. A great save from that Clemson driver, but he's going to pay the price by losing a couple of positions. As we got some jockeying for position towards the back of the field, a little bit of chaos. We're still green at the moment, but it looked like there were some slow cars coming out of turn two. As Daniel Nanny's going to squeeze his way up in front of the 47 of Wembley. That was an extremely aggressive move that almost went sideways, literally, for that Ball State car.
That could have been ending in disaster for another Ball State car. It's been, as a team, not Ball State today, as the Whale and Morton are trading some paint. But yeah, Ball State has not had the day that they've wanted as a whole team, but they still got some drivers up front here fighting for the lead here, as now Leaf will be tailing behind Morton with Nanny behind him.
This has been an extremely brutal, extremely physical race. A lot of drivers bumping doors together, putting each other in the wall, not giving an inch of space. In fact, I think there's very few cars out there on track that are completely free of scratches, dents, and dings. But Matthew Morton out in front, had a little bit of a scare as Daniel Nanny Muhammad Alif tried to challenge for the lead, but he has since been relegated back to second. Daniel Nanny has gotten around Robbie Vrabel Jr. and is now going to try to work with his teammate going into turn one, as here comes a send and a half from Logan Smith on the bottom to try and get around Zach DeWale. He's going to complete that pass and almost had a second one initiated on Wembley.
Yeah, Smith has woken up, it seems, running really far up the field, and I'm all for that. See some unfamiliar faces up here trying to get their first CIL podium. I'm not familiar if Smith has had a podium before in the CIL before, but
not yet.
Definitely going to want to check that off on the list. So let's see if he can get any more positions and try to take that first of his CIL career, as we now get to ride on board with Zach DeWale, currently fighting with Andrew Stagey from Ball State University. Zach DeWale from St. Clair College in the alumni class. And quite close, and as we get into turn one here, and these cars are like so close together, going to be taking air from each other as we continue to draft down the front straight. Had a little bit of wiggle as we head into the straight number two.
And I don't think Zach has blinked the entire time we've had him on camera. The focus is that intense. He's driving the wheels off of that St. Clair car, and that Ball State machine isn't getting any smaller in his rear view. As we see, I believe, Brandon Schulenberger going to bring that Wingate car down to pit road one more time to fix some damage. But now here's Stagey with a little bit of a look to the inside, thinks better of it, is going to tuck back in behind that 519 car and try and save up for another run. Here he goes into turn one. Look to the side, try and make the move on St. Clair College. They're going to be side by side. In fact, it's 2 by 2 by 2 up at the front of the field from second on back. As that is going to get settled out for the time being. Can Logan Smith find a place to slot in line? Yes, he can, right in front of DeWale, as they're going to be nose to tail for just a split second. Austin DeLong sneaking out a line, looking to the inside of, I believe, yes, Andrew Stagey to try and take away that 9th position. Excuse me, 8th.
Matthew Morton seems a little bit comfortable here, has about a car's length ahead of Muhammad Alif here. Who has a bit of a gap to their teammate of Nanny. He's not going to be able to really do anything to help his teammate catch up. Getting some bump draft from Robbie Vrabel Jr. further behind. Now they're about trading a bit of a action. Yeah, some about single file here as these drivers try to just get some green flag action going on and a bit of try to get some things going on here. His nanny gets checked up. Seems like a massive amount from Muhammad Alif. Not getting as good a run through turn 2 there. And this is a bunch of give and take with these gaps closing and opening and closing and opening over and over and over again.
There you see the front, pretty much the whole front top 5, and almost nose to tail as Wembley gets a little bit loose out of turn. See, I almost said turn 4. I about did the big bad at Pocono. Turn 3, no turn 4 here at Pocono on this tricky triangle as we're working on lap 59 of 80 of tonight's Future Made by Hand 200 presented by the Pennsylvania College of Technology. Trades are the future, and the future starts with you. You know, while we've got a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a lull in the action, I'm wondering, producer Christian, could we maybe let these naturally aspirated big V8s do some talking for a little bit and crank it up? As we got the battle for the lead still, battle for the lead has calmed down just a little bit. Matthew Morton with a second gap over Muhammad Alif, but he's got his rear view mirror full of his teammate Daniel Nanny and Robbie Vrabel Jr. just behind them, trying to edge his way onto the podium. I've got the green flag from producer Christian that we're going to crank it up. So how about let's do that? Turn up your computer, turn up your TV, and listen to the glorious sounds of the College Cup Series. Welcome back to Pocono Raceway for the Future, made by Hand 200, presented by the Pennsylvania College of Technology. And folks, if you're just now tuning in, you're going to witness a phenomenal finish to this race. 17 laps to go, and the leaders are all nose to tail. Matthew Morton, Muhammad Ali. Now Daniel Nanny into third place over Robbie Vrabel Jr. 17 to go, 16 at the line. What an incredible race we've had so far. A lot of lead changes. No one really has dominated this race. We've seen a lot of pit strategy, but the drivers are now ready to go if this thing goes to the green. Only a couple of retirements out of tonight's race. Thomas Toomey, Sky Shrek, Athena Leclerc, Lucas Moody, Kelton Quick, Edwin Onofre out of the race. Alex Finnerty, who had pretty much gone behind the wall at the start of the race, has now since come back out on track and is now being scored 4 laps down. So a great recovery drive for that UNC Charlotte machine. Never say die, I guess. And that's exactly what Daniel Nanny's doing right now. He's behind you more for the past about 10, 20 laps or so, and he just took the lead away right like that in one corner.
Yeah, he's been trying to find that move for so many laps, sitting behind Muhammad Ali, sitting behind Matthew Morton, and has finally made it happen. He's going to take the lead. I think he's led some laps earlier on, but he's going to actually break the draft. I take it a little bit of an offline as he start the 15th lap to go. Has over 0.3 of a second ahead of Matthew Morton here, and I'm certain he wants to keep it that way. While his teammate Muhammad Ali is trying to fight for that second position.
And Daniel Nanny has turned on the Jets. This is one of the larger leads we've seen so far tonight. 0.3 of a second coming out of turn 1, but that's down about 1.5 tenths now to 2 as Matthew Morton bump drafting with Muhammad Ali. Strength in numbers as that lead that Nanny made through turn 1 has pretty much come completely down. Big move right there from Austin DeLong as he got loose coming out of turn 2. Saved the car. Great hands from that PCT driver as he's going to stay in the fight with Zach DeWale, although being now relegated down to fighting with Andrew Stagey, Drew Williams, I believe that's Jake Hall, and is that Ricky Paz from Valpo fighting for the top 10?
Looks like it. And see Nanny doing the Indianapolis IndyCar type strategy of where you just run down low on the front straights to completely counteract any draft if that's possible, or maybe it's a Max Verstappen strategy if you want to bring Formula One into this, but trying everything you can to try to minimize what advantage the draft has. Meanwhile, we're running on board Andrew Stagey while he looks in his mirror at Drew Williams. Turn 2 here is running a very high line. He's going to have a very poor run out of 2.
Yeah, you can see the frustration there just for a moment from Stagey as he did not get a good break into turn 2, and now he's under fire from 2 Clemson cars working together. That's Drew Williams, the alumni, and the 123 car Jake Hall making his return to the CIL. As you see the drivers fanning out on the front stretch, they're starting to break that toe that's so powerful down this front stretch by weaving left to right to try and prevent that run coming from the car behind. But now Stagey going to try and dispatch the number 22 of DeLong. He's turned his focus to the windshield instead of the rear view mirror. He's now to the inside of the Penn College of Technology machine. But that blue car is going to get the advantage to the outside and finish the pass as we have a caution that has come out on track. Trevor Rizzo potentially involved from Clemson University as that car was on pit road for just a second.
Just bear with us for a second while we try to find the definitive culprit as to why. With 13 laps to go, we're under caution again. I think this is for the 7th time.
Yes, this will be caution number 7 of the evening, coming out with 13 laps to go. Now 12 at the line. So now this is going to be really interesting. With a green flag run there, every one of these drivers has at least one more sets of tires to use. And I believe we're going to see pit road become a very, very busy place here next time by.
Yeah, although I could definitely see some of those cars that pitted around the halfway mark might make a bolder decision to try to stay out, gather some track position, especially if they're further back in the field, like some of the people in the 20s. Make a bit of a bold decision to try to get some extra points to make a a run to lock yourself in based off points, because we know there's gonna be a spot, I believe, because of Morton's double victory twice so far. He's found victory lane. We're
Yes. So
going to have
every duplicate win we have is going to unlock a spot where somebody can point their way into the playoffs. So right now, since Morton has won 2 races so far this season, there will be at least 1 spot available for a non-winning driver to point their way into the playoffs. As I believe we have the replay ready of what happened to bring out our 7th caution of the night. The 06 car of Trevor Rizzo got, got way loose coming out of turn 2, and that car shot to the inside wall. Hard hit for that machine, as he is, he's towed that car and has climbed out. He is done for the night, as we called it. Everybody's on pit road. Here we go. Here's the money stop. Oh, and Nanny overshot his pit stall. Massive mistake for Daniel Nanny, as Edwin Onofre maybe had a 2-tire stop. We saw a couple of drivers stay out as well. This is going to be huge. 2 tires for Matthew Morton, 4 tires for the rest of the field all the way around. That is, I believe, Robbie Vrabel Jr. going to get out ahead of Muhammad Alif, and they were 3 wide for position behind them coming off of pit road.
interesting dynamics there. Just seeing, I'm trying to think of how Edwin Onofre got such a increase. I think he was further down, right? I think I'm confused on where he is on track. But
I've got him scored 5 laps down.
Yeah, 5 laps.
So he was not on pace. He's
Okay.
wasn't on pace with the rest of the.
All right, but we do have a couple cars up here that I've at least stayed at. We got Drew Williams, Matthew
Ooh.
Nordberg, Ryan Whitlock, and Andrew Burrell, I believe. 2 of which from Clemson. So maybe that was a teammate call from the 2 alumni Clemson drivers to make a bit of a more bold decision to stay out. And as I said, get some track position to maybe see if with 10 laps to go, or hit the line, it's gonna be 9 laps to go, you can make something happen here. I think there's a possibility that we run this to the checker once we get back underway. So
No, I'll tell you exactly what that was. That was a call from the Orange Wheel Racing Technical Alliance between Clemson, NC State, Alabama, Huntsville. Those 4 drivers all race together. So strength comes in numbers, especially when you're trying an off strategy. All 4 of those drivers staying out. They seem to think that either this race is going to get cut short or we're going to have a lot of cautions. So yeah, Orange Wheel Racing right now, the only sort of that technical alliance in the CIL for the time being, and we're going to see if it plays off. We're going to see if it plays into their favor. Now officially 10 laps to go in tonight's race from Pocono Raceway. The first time we've been here since season 3, and it has put on an incredible show for us. For the Future Made by Hand 200, presented by the Pennsylvania College of Technology. Trades are the future, and the future starts with you. One more lap to go until we take the green flag, as Williams is going to be the control car. Nordberg from NC State to his outside. Ryan Whitlock, Alabama, Huntsville, and Andrew Burrell on row number 3. Matthew Morton, Robbie Vrabel Jr., row 4 on some fresh tires. Muhammad Alif, Daniel Nanny, 2 Ball State teammates, row number 4. And this is going to certainly be an interesting restart, as these drivers are one more time going to make the slow trip through turn number 3, the last corner on this triangle-shaped track, the Tricky Triangle. And we're going to get ready to go back to racing. Benny, the pace car driver, go ahead and turn left, buddy. There you go. Williams is the control car in the lead. Can he win his first College Cup Series race in the next-gen car? We've got 10 laps to settle it. Back to racing at Pocono. Oh, it's turned. Vrabel's hard into the wall. It's the big one happening behind him. Caution comes out. Huge hit for the 98 of Jake Hall, and then wrecking coming out of turn 1.
Oh, that was a very awkward incident. Occurred when Muhammad Ali and Morton were trying to fight for the lead of all the cars that did go down the pit road last time around, and I think that battle caused a bit of an incident with Morton tipping someone around and just pulling a Chick Hicks and causing chaos behind.
Massive crash. The big one strikes again at Pocono, and it collected at least 10 or 12 different drivers. We're going to need more than a few angles of replay to look at that one to figure out exactly what happened. But I remember the first thing I saw was that number 81 car of Ryan Whitlock get turned completely sideways and then go into the wall, and it was just chaos coming out of turn 1 behind him.
Yeah, I have to say that probably half the field on the late lap got involved in that one there. Some drivers, potentially terminal damage, going to end this race a couple laps down. Unfortunately, my pick got involved in that more than yours, so I'm going to lose out way on that when it comes to our little battle. So,
and the 81 has completely destroyed the front end of that car. So we're gonna try and catch a replay to see to try and parse exactly what happened in that incident. But here we go. Huge crash coming out of turn 1, takes out a lot of front runners. Ryan Whitlock, Muhammad Ali, Robbie Vrabel Jr., Zach DeWale involved, as well as I believe Austin DeLong Michael Sidor caught up in that crash. But production crew working hard behind the scenes to get us that replay, get us a good angle, just because it was huge. I mean, you saw that crash took probably about 30 seconds to completely resolve. As there you see Ryan Whitlock is going to make his service down pit road. Clint Halterman really thought about it, but he does come down pit road. Also caught up in that incident, going to try and make some repairs before the end of this race. Yeah, Michael Sidor.
Orange wheel racing, making a very smart decision to stay out front, knowing some chaos might have happened.
Well, I think Orange Wheel Racing was the chaos there with Ryan Whitlock getting the worst end of the stick there. I also don't see Andrew Burrell. Yeah, Burrell relegated back down to 24th. There you see the front end of his car destroyed too, so he was also involved in that crash.
Yeah, but like two of the 4 cars, like they have a 50% survival rate, so I guess that's good enough.
Hey, I like those odds.
Yeah, but better than a slot machine.
Burrell going to stay out another lap to try and tick off another lap completed to hopefully keep some positions above the cars that are on pit road. But he is going to have to come down pit road and get that car serviced if he wants to still be competitive. Doesn't look like he's having any suspension problems, though, so he might have lucked out really, really well.
Too much
Ethan Decatur
seems.
Yeah, Ethan Decatur coming to get some damage repaired as well. But I'll tell you who that did work in favor for, and that's our leaders, Williams, Nordberg, Morton, and Nanny. Actually, Morton and Nanny made off really well. They actually gained a few positions because of that collision. I don't see Muhammad Alif either. Yeah, Alif on down to 18th. He was involved in that incident as well. And as these laps continue to tick down, 6 to go across the stripe that time by. That's just less time that Williams is going to have to defend from the rest of the field. So he's actually here. He's actually in prime position here to snag his first ever College Cup Series victory in this next gen car. He won the championship last summer in our Gen 4 Throwback Series, but just has not been able to replicate that success in the next gen car. So hopefully he will be able to find his way to victory lane tonight. Also good to see Matt Nordberg having a solid run. That's a driver who's usually on the short end of a lot of stick, or on the short end of the stick in a lot of incidents. But we're going to quickly take a look at the replay of the big one striking late at Pocono. So there you see the 81 of Whitlock. Actually, a Leaf and Mort fighting. They washed up the track, hit a Leaf, and then poor Robbie Vrabel Jr. nowhere to go. Hard hits to the inside wall for a lot of these drivers. Matthew Burton involved, Jake Hall, Clint Halterman. Man, what a hit. Charles Wembley also going around. That's, I think, Michael Sidor involved, Dylan Godinez involved again. Edwin back there coming to a complete stop, riding along with the Valpo car. This might be the camera angle. Oh, no. Almost snuck his way through, but Muhammad Leaf coming out of nowhere to end his day. But the field is stacked up once again, 2 by 2. After that huge crash that brought out caution number of the evening, Drew Williams in prime position to sneak his way into victory lane for the first time in his career in the College Cup Series Next Gen cars. Green flag's going to come back out. It's going to be a 5-lap shootout to victory. All bets are off now. Williams to the point. Here comes Daniel Nanny. He gave a huge shove as we've got a car backwards into the wall. That is Timothy Williams in turn 1, and I believe that is going to take us to CIL overtime.
Yeah, we just barely saw that on our feed as that transpired live. Leave a little bit of contact from a car probably down low. Sent Timothy Williams spinning around in turn 1, and another car that's going to be damaged, and a nice repair bill sent to their virtual mechanics.
And these cars like losing their front bumpers, and it looks like that left front on Wilms might have picked up some damage too. That thing doesn't, I think, looks like it's caved in towards the car. But we're going to take a look at the replay that brought out the most recent caution that is going to send us into a CIL green-white checkered finish. So take a look at the yellow car in the middle of that 3 wide between the Penn State car and the Charlotte car. And yeah, just some contact there with Peyton DuLong sends the 86 of Wilms around and bass backwards, for lack of a better term, into the wall.
Yeah, and that bumper got sent to the back rooms. It just completely vanished. That was a tight one there with, I think that was one of the Clemson cars. I think it was Burrell. But couldn't really get a good shot on how fast it went by. So, unfortunate incident for Timothy Williams here, but all
right. Ooh, boy, we're going to have a heck of a finish here. So, what's going to happen is the drivers are going to get, so they're going to get 1 to go after this. So, we are going to have CIL overtime. This race distance will be 81 laps. So, what's going to happen? Welcome to overtime. If you're just now joining us, here's the drivers are going to take the green flag, and then the white flag, and then the checkered flag. If at any point the caution comes out after the drivers take the green, the race is over, the field will be frozen, and they will be scored as is. So, right now, at the moment, your leader, Drew Williams, in a very, very good spot to clinch the win for tonight's Future Made by Hand 200, presented by that Penn College esports team. that you're seeing right out of the rear view mirror of the pace car.
Yeah, it's the only chance these drivers are going to get to find any additional positions on track before the end of the race, and it's only 2 laps, so they got to make any move that they can make count. At this point, you're not going to pit, I don't think, because I think a lot of these drivers have been playing their strategy such that you don't have to pit at the end. Definitely,
Yeah,
these drivers are going to get way aggressive once this overtime starts.
the drivers are good to go on gas. They can make it through overtime to the end of the race. The lights are going to come off on the pace car. This time by, it'll be 1 to go until we take the green flag. But this is one of the best chances that Williams has had to take the win of a race. He really hasn't been that competitive for race wins ever since his incident at Kansas last year, where he and I believe it was Matt O'Brien collided on the last lap, and that allowed who won that race? That was a CIL Classic finish, and I can't remember who won. That is embarrassing. But Williams would certainly hope to have another shot at the race win, but he's got Matt Morton to his outside, teammate Matthew Nordberg behind him for assistance, and it's Daniel Nanny also on that second row. So all 4 of these drivers are going to jockey for position. They want this win. The gloves are now coming off, although I don't think they were on in the first place.
Yeah, these drivers have been going at it the whole dang time tonight. There's no chance they're stopping now. So Matthew Morton, our previous race winner back in Iowa last week, alongside Drew Williams. The driver has not won in quite a while. So interesting dynamic of these drivers are going to try to give it all to try to get CAL glory tonight here at Pocono. The first time we've seen this track since season 3.
It's 4 different stories at the front of the field. Matthew Morton looking to secure his dominance on this season, looking for his 3rd win in 3 races this season for Ohio State. Drew Williams is looking to put seasons of heartbreak and missed opportunities behind him. Matt Nordberg is on a streak of poor finishes and poor luck. He's looking to have a breakout finish and maybe to snag his first career win, as well as Daniel Nanny, the hotshot rookie who has come close so many times this season, but like Williams, cannot get the job done. It's going to be a 2-lap shootout to 5 miles to see who's going to win the race. Green flags in the air one last time. They're over the stripe. We're back to racing at Pocono. And Morton is going to make off with the lead after getting a huge shove from Daniel Nanny into turn 1. He dives to the bottom to try and break the draft. Leaves Williams in the behind them. Nordberg now battling with Jake Cummings for the 11. Nordberg loose into turn 2. He's going to slide up and get into the wall off of turn 3. The caution might come out behind him. There's a couple of Penn College technology cars tangling. Is side by side for the lead. Daniel Nanny over Matt Morton. Possibly. Who was in the lead when the caution came out? A heat down the chute into turn number 3. I believe we were still actually in scheduled distance. No. Barney has waved the white flag. Who got it? It's going to be under official review because they were side by side when the caution came out. And I believe race control has given it to Daniel Nanny. Wow.
So tight going down the short chute. Nanny having such a good run out of turn number 2. I imagine seeing that instant having occurred further back in his rearview mirror and just hoping, praying that the side draft gave him everything he needed. And barely by a matter of inches edges out in front of Matthew Morton and is going to be in the lead as they cross the stripes.
He finished third in the season opener. He finished second at Charlotte. He barely missed out on the podium last week at Iowa. He's had phenomenal momentum this season. A breakout rookie for Ball State, their next big oval prodigy, leading this pack on the oval side, and it looks like he will finally get the job done. That beautiful purple Ball State car has finally won a College Cup Series race on his 4th try. And as they come out of turn 3 for the final time, Barney with the checkered flag in the air, Daniel can see it and he can taste sweet, sweet victory. Nanny wins at Pocono. And with that win, he has officially locked himself into the College Cup Series playoffs.
See those other Ball State machines further back trying to make their way up into the front alongside their teammate to congratulate them on a well-fought victory here at Pocono. Moody, Alif, Stagey, every Ball
Victory
State car.
formation. Wow,
Yeah,
look at
plus
that.
side in a cross formation out of turn 1, celebrating their rookie's first CIL College Cup Series victory.
We've been joking about the Great Wall of Ball all season, but there it is, folks. The Great Wall of Ball congratulating Daniel Nanny on his maiden CIL College Cup Series win. That is a shot for the ages right there, as they're going to come racing past the pace car to come burn it down on the front stretch.
Right in it through turn 3.
Oh, little too happy for Nanny there, as they're going to have some fun in these virtual cost-nothing vehicles. And let the celebrations begin.
Well, it makes it
Unofficial results tonight. Daniel Nanny, the winner. Matthew Morton, P2. Drew Williams will once again finish P3, but will walk away with the alumni victory tonight. Jake Cummings, the alumni champion, P4, and Andrew Stagey in P5. And there it is, the burnouts for the first time for Daniel Nanny and Ball State University in his career. He's going to burn it down at the start-finish line. He started in 4th, set himself up for a great run, and brought it all home by inches exactly when it mattered.
Well done for Daniel Nanny, burning it down along the front straight.
Great.
Right underneath.
Great burnout. And we are going to get all of our top 3 finishers in the booth to interview them as soon as they all get out of their cars and join us, as the rest of the Ball State crew burning it down in solidarity, in celebration with Nanny. Alif and Moody actually came back out on track for that. I don't know how they got that hunk of junk repaired and back out on the track, but sure enough, he was there in the Great Wall of Ball. And Alif blew the motor.
As they should.
Always a sign of a great celebration.
Everybody likes explosions. That's why we like fireworks.
So we're going to take a look at the replay of the race finish, of how close it came between. Well, we're actually going to take a look at the incident first, but it was Edward Sanchez and Baruch College making contact with Austin DeLong. Both of those cars were almost completely straight and saved, and then chaos ensued behind them.
Yeah, another big one, it seems. And a lot of innocent bystanders getting collected.
So we're going to wait on Daniel Nanny to make his way to the booth for an interview. But we're going to go ahead and talk to our runner-up finisher tonight, Matthew Morton, Ohio State University. Congratulations on another phenomenal run here in the Cup Series. Couldn't walk away with win number 3 on the season. But what a phenomenal race for you. Take us down to those last couple of laps in that green-white checkered finish.
Yeah, I was just trying to the goal on the last restart was just to get a good start on Andrew there. If I was able to stay alongside, I knew I had a pretty good shot to hold the lead out of turn 1. Going into turn 2, I took 2 tires and I just didn't have enough grip on that exit or entry just to go through the corner. And Daniel just went to my inside and got on my left rear. Super loose off, had no momentum, and unfortunately beat me to the caution. But definitely take a P2 at a track I personally feel like I struggle at personally. So yeah, good points and a good finish is all I can really ask for.
Yeah, but that second to last caution was a bit of an interesting one. I believe you were a component of what happened there. So just tell us what was going through your head while that was transpiring.
A lot was going on that restart. Well, I was too busy looking ahead at Andrew because I was like, I don't know what the lane change rule is because he went up to the outside, but I'm not totally sure about it. But I was just too focused on him changing lanes. I actually missed a shift, and a leaf laid back super far behind me and got a run and was put in a big sandwich there. And coming off of turn 1, the 81 just kept coming down and caused a wreck there, and then it just was a circus coming off turn 1 because the leaf was coming up and I just had nowhere to go except just keep holding my line and bulldozing through, just getting destroyed. But yeah, I mean, that restart was hectic, but I feel like it was kind of just personally on my wrongdoing, just missing a shift there, causing it. But luckily we were just able to escape away from that and just set ourselves up for a decent finish with how good we were running throughout the entire race.
Well, we saw the finish ultimately come down to a battle of inches between you and Nanny at the time of caution. Was there a point at which that went through your mind of, oh my gosh, I got him?
No, because I never want to bank on a caution, especially on a green-white checkered. You always just got to assume that there's not going to be a caution. But yeah, I wasn't really worried about inching ahead of him in turn 3 there. Once the yellow came out, though, I was like, man, that just came out 2 scoring loops too late, and we really lost by pretty much a nose there. So that was unlucky, but you still got to take a P2 here. So.
Well, congratulations on that P2. Big points for you as you continue your run towards the playoffs. While we've got you on the show, anybody you'd like to thank or you know the drill.
Yeah, I'd like to thank, I had a few crew members tonight, Andrew Wisdom and Matt O'Brien, who raced last season, helped me a lot tonight, helped spot me and just give me guidance throughout the entire race. Fun racing with them, give me some entertainment too on the side. And I'd like to shout out Ohio State, shout out my parents watching, and that's pretty much it.
Well, congratulations on yet another podium here in the College Cup Series. And I know for a fact we'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys. Go Bucks.
That was tonight's runner-up finisher from Ohio State University, Matthew Morton. But let's go ahead and talk to the man of the hour, Daniel Nanny. Congratulations. You are a College Cup Series winner, and you're going to the playoffs this season. How does it feel?
Well, it feels, I don't know how to describe the feeling. I feel pretty good. I feel tired. I wasn't really trying to win the race today. I was just trying to beat her to the end, and somehow it worked out in the end, and yeah, I mean, victory in.
Yeah, we have a lot of cars representing Ball State University. Plenty of them congratulating you and burning it down. What does it mean to have so many people helping each other? Like, how does the program help you, and how do you help the program?
It's a big thing, actually. Like, having, like, I think we had 6 racers in there tonight, 6 or 7, I'm not really sure, but yeah, we've been helping each other out for the entire week, practicing for this race, and um, most of the time they're coming to me for help, but that's okay because I'm here to help them, and I'm very proud of them, honestly. Like, they, most of them had a very good run, and I believe Andrew finished in 5th, and Belief was there until he got wrecked on the final, or that second to final restart, and it's honestly one of the biggest things I've ever been a part of, and I hope we can continue this going forward.
Well, Daniel, with that win, you are officially locked into the College Cup Series playoffs later on in the season. What does that mean for you?
Well, it means I can be able to compete for the championship, but I'm hoping I won't miss any races because Road to Pro is starting up, and I feel like in the upcoming weeks I'm going to be focusing more on Road to Pro and getting ready on, especially on Monday nights with the train for field races. So I hope I can show up for the remainder of the races and compete for the championship.
Already got your mindset on the championship indeed. Congratulations on your maiden win tonight, Daniel. While we've got you here on the show, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Well, you guys already mentioned them, Ball State and all the guys. Major shout out to them for preparing for this race throughout the week, and all my sponsors from LLL and all the Ball State sponsors. I still don't have them noted down yet, so I have to note them down for next time. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to shout out for tonight.
Well, congratulations again on your first victory. Go celebrate it with your teammates and go enjoy it. And hopefully we will see you back up here in the booth soon.
Thank you guys so much.
That was tonight's winner, Daniel Nanny from Ball State University, who, like we mentioned, has locked himself into the playoffs this towards the end of the season. So congratulations again to him. And we're going to go ahead and talk to our third place finisher tonight, Drew Williams from Clemson University. Congratulations on another incredible drive that seemed to be really based off of strategy. Take us through your strategy throughout this race.
Yeah, it was definitely a really interesting one. We got put to the back a bunch of times because people in the midfield just kept wrecking. And finally, on that last restart, me and a few of the OWR guys said, "Man, tires haven't been that big of a deal all night. Let's just go for it. Let's stay out. Let's block every lane and just see where we get." And didn't work out for really any of them but me, which I hate. But yeah, made a gamble late to get some positions, and it definitely paid off. Just not as much as we were hoping.
Yeah, came quite close to take the victory. I'm just curious, how else did you prepare? Was it just this practice session, or was there anything else that you sort of pre-planned aside from some action with your orange wheel racing compadres?
No real prep for this race for us. We jumped in. I haven't driven Pocono in 3 or 4 months, and just tried to take it as is. That's why we qualified at the back. I had no speed in quali, and had to work my way up. Now a lot of our orange wheel racing, shenanigan moves are never pre-planned. We make those up on the fly, and just see, strengthen numbers. Maybe 6 guys stay out. That kind of that forms a wall. And fortunately, we only had 4 for that one. So maybe if we had more, it could have worked.
Well, Drew, I hate to bring it up once again, but that maiden next gen win still seems to elude you. What do you think it's going to take for you to finally get on the top step of the podium?
Tree falls on Morton's power lines or something. I don't know. It's it's hard with these quick guys in the league to try and steal one. Morton and Nanny are so quick week in week out. I'm super jealous of Jake that he was able to swipe one at Auto Club, and I'm hoping for the same. I mean, circumstance come. I've been in the leading on the white flag 3-4 times now. It's going to come eventually. Gen 4 worked out really well for me. Maybe, next gen's going to get there. I feel like it's coming this season.
Well, certainly not a result to shake a stick at. Look at that. Started 23rd and finished third, plus 20 positions over the course of this race. What a phenomenal drive for you, Drew. Congratulations on that. And at this point, you know the drill. Anybody you'd like to thank or while we've got you on the show?
Of course. I'd love to shout out Orangeville Racing for racing with me every week and doing our tomfoolery during cautions. And huge thanks to CIL for putting this on.
Yeah, congratulations again, Drew, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
That was Drew Williams, who finished third overall in tonight's race, as well as capturing the alumni win. And we're going to go ahead and talk to another alumni in the field, Jake Cummings, P4 overall, P2 in alumni, fought with Williams for the alumni win, but came up just short. What would it have taken for you to capture that alumni victory tonight? Uh-oh. Jake, you got a copy? Jake, it's us up here in the booth. You got a copy, buddy? All right, some technical difficulties there. Couldn't quite get the connection going to Jake Cummings, but still a solid result for him as he's going to finish second in the alumni division. Still his title defense off to a great start for the alumni.
Yeah, I think you said P4 finish. Wonderful play to get some points, although I guess he doesn't need it, having Jake Cummings is already locked into the playoffs. But just kind of being able to see how your opponents are racing and making notes on them is always a good skill and some good information to have.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we came back to Pocono. Personally, I love this track. I love the shows it puts on. And we had just about everything that could have happened did happen. We had great battles for the lead. We had nose-to-tail trains all around the track. We had 4, 5, even 6 wide at one point, although it didn't work. And of course, a lot of big crashes that we can come to expect from very draft-heavy racetracks. But what a great race. And I'm sure Pocono has certainly cemented itself as a staple on the College Cup Series calendar.
Yeah, I definitely want to see this one again. Strategy calls and the amount of pit stops and all the action that we saw tonight is, I think, very instrumental in demonstrating that this track deserves a spot in this calendar.
And we're almost out of time, so we're going to go ahead and run through tonight's final results from the Future Made by Hand 200 presented by the Pennsylvania Technology. John, take it away.
Zach's pick of who is going to take the race win. Daniel Nanny from Ball State University takes it ahead of Matthew Morton from Ohio State University. Andrew Williams from Clemson sadly couldn't make the win happen tonight, but did come home in third. Jake Cummings, P4 from Wingate University, ahead of Andrew Stagey from Ball State University in fifth. Matthew Nordberg from North Carolina State University took it home in sixth, ahead of Logan Smith from Auburn University in a very respectable seventh place. Ricky Paz, a bit of a name that is a standout in P8 for Valparaiso University, ahead of Ben Neller from Ball State University in ninth, and then Peyton Oolong from Penn State in 10th.
Yeah, shout out to Peyton DeLong there. Started iRacing as a service just a couple of months ago and already has his first top 10 in the CIL. Charles Wembley from Guilford College will finish P11. P12 goes to the number 12 car, R. Muhammad Alif from Ball State University. Good recovery drive after being caught up in the big one late. Jason Wallet from Drexel University also has a good recovery. Finished 13. Ethan Decatur, solid result for Valpo University in 14th. And 15th will go to Ryan Whitlock from Alabama Huntsville. Orange Wheel Racing teammate Andrew Burrell from Clemson University will finish 16th. P17 goes to the 26 of Edward Sanchez from Baruch College. Timothy Williams from Drexel University will finish 18th. 19th goes to Felix Caporale from East Carolina University. And Clemson's Jake Hall will finish P20.
P21 goes to Austin DeLong from Penn College of Technology ahead of Clemson's Nick Stockner. Zachary Tallman from Penn College of Technology is in 23rd ahead of Matthew Burton for East Tennessee State University. Then the guy we interviewed in our CIL ignition zone, Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte, takes it home in P25. Then a dual Penn College of Technology duo of Mark Turek in P26, and then Dylan Godinez in P27. Alan Hong from St. Clair College takes it home in 28th, ahead of Michael Seidorf from Payne College of Technology in 29th. Finishing the 20s, Zachary Dwell and St. Clair College take it home in 30th.
And rounding out our full field tonight, P31, Robbie Vrabel Jr. from Claire. Brandon Schulenberger from Wingate University finishes 32nd. 33rd goes to Alex Finnerty from UNC Charlotte. Edwin Onofre will finish 34th for UNT. Trevor Rizzo from Clemson will finish 35th. 36th goes to Kelton Quick. 37th, Lucas Moody, two Ball State drivers. Athena LeClaire finishes P38 for St. Clair College. Sky Schreck will finish P39. And Thomas Toomey will finish P40 for the University of Virginia. Well, the checkered flag has flown, and Daniel Nanny and Ball State, hey, look at that. That's 2 in a row. The script don't lie. Have triumphed at the Future Made by Hand 200 presented by the Pennsylvania College of Technology and have locked themselves into the playoffs in 6 weeks' time. And as we look forward to the playoffs, there's still more than plenty of racing left and lots of playoff spots up for grabs. The next opportunity comes next Monday night as the College Cup Series goes road racing for the first time this season. And for the first time ever from the Charlotte Roval, it's the Switch Up 200 kilometers presented by the Familiar Strange as our drivers switch it up and take to the high banks of Charlotte mixed with the twisty, challenging infield road course. So look for some of our road course ringers to make a statement next Monday night as we once again take you trackside, starting with the Ignition Zone pre-race show at 8:30 Eastern and flag-to-flag coverage beginning at 8:50. And if you can't wait for more CIL action, it's another week of firsts here in the CIL as Formula C will head to their own roval at Homestead Miami Speedway for our inaugural Miami Grand Prix, where we can promise plenty of action without all the washed-up celebrities. It's lights out and away we go here on CIL Vision at 8:45 Eastern this Wednesday night. Then on Thursday, our Collegiate Prototype Challenge heads back overseas to the Hungaro Ring for our Grand Prix of Hungary, where the title fight between Ball State's ringer R. Muhammad Alif and Kent State's Jordan Johnson continues to heat up as Alif chases his first win of the season behind a three-peat from Jordan Johnson. So be sure to tune into that action this Thursday night live at 8:45 Eastern on CIL Vision. And I believe that is going to do it for all of us tonight from our Future Made by Hand 200. So on behalf of myself, co-commentator John, producers Christian and Keith, and from all of us here at the Collegiate iRacing League, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in to tonight's race. And until next time, stay fast.
but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
264 drivers entered with a shot at $1,000. Driver sideways, that is Daniel Holloway at the exit of turn 4. Cars in the wall, it's checkers or records. No caution flags allowed as they wreck towards the back of the pack. Mr. McQueen, Casey Kerwin to the line. He wins the podium 500.